Hello, friends. This is Ethan and Lucy with Hilltown Tea Company, and we're with our friend Alexandra. Where are you from, Alexandra?
I am from Orlando, Florida.
Excellent. So today we're doing a tea tasting. We're here in Darjeeling this weekend, tasting some teas, seeing how our Namring Second Flush stands up against some of the other hard hitters this season. So first of all, the reason why we wanted to do this with Al is because she has pretty much no experience whatsoever with tea, period, or really coffee. What kind of beverages do you like, if not these?
I enjoy a good juice and a lemonade.
Great.
And all kinds of things like that. I guess I like fruits. Fruity things, and water is good.
Nice.
And I have had, teas here and there, and I enjoy them, but I know so little about them, so it's kind of intimidating to buy tea when you don't know much about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of options and a lot of mystery these days in the Darjeeling tea market. So what we're trying to do is dispel some of those mysteries so that you know what you're getting. And I believe personally that a good tea should be discernible by someone with no experience. You don't have to be a sommelier, to figure out if you're drinking something that's good quality. So we're hoping that Miss Alexandra here will be able to suss out which one is our tea. We have not done any coaching beforehand. She's only tried one Darjeeling tea before, so we'll see what she decides. I'll go ahead and make this. And in the meantime, Lucy, do you want to talk about this year's second flush from Namring? Maybe the story behind it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm listening.
This year we had a lot of fun tasting the different teas. But I was pretty picky. I really don't prefer an astringent, bitter flavor. I really like the smoother, sweeter teas. I really like first flush, green tea, white tea, so I tend to go towards those. So when we were trying the second flush teas, a lot of them that we were getting from Namring were tasting quite bitter to me. I didn't like them. And when we talked about it, I said to Ethan, I trust your judgment. If you think it's a good tea, we can buy it, but I don't like this one. So we kept sending them back, and we were working with Mr. Joy Mukherjee at Namring, and he kept getting teas back, so then he personally went to the garden himself to work with them at the factory, oversaw production, and brought us a new invoice, which was excellent. It was very little astringency, that sweet flavor. I felt like it had similarities to our first flush. You had some of those first flush flavors, but then it was that stronger, more muscatel, more what you think of when you want a Darjeeling tea. So I think we got a really unique second flush, and he personally felt it was one of the best that they've had as second flush from Namring.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for Al to try it and see what she thinks.
I'm excited too.
It doesn't taste like juice, but it does. I'm not going to say what it tastes like, but
It's okay. If it doesn't
But it's
taste
good.
too sweet.
Yeah.
I always trust your guys' judgment because so many things you've introduced me to have been wonderful and then become my favorite things. So I'm excited to try.
Very nice. Yeah, you'll notice immediately a difference between these two teas. Now, I'm not going to give you any hints as to which one is ours, but I chose they're exactly the same price, ours and the competitors. I'm not going to say which garden it comes from now or after, just for fairness to these other gardens. To be fair, every single invoice is different coming from every single garden, but we just want to see, at the same price point, same grade, same quality of garden, what you can expect as far as differences. So we'll first part of the tea appreciation begins at just the appearance.
Okay.
So, sit up for the camera. What are we noticing about the appearance?
They're very small and short, I think.
You can feel free to touch it.
Should we do a POV?
Oh, that's good.
I can do.
Yeah. I see some of like those light pieces that you said were kind of like the
The
tippy top.
tips, right? So
parts.
the white tips are there.
So that's pretty cool. A few
So
different
go ahead and
colors.
smell it. So typically we don't smell the dry leaf. However, stopping this tea at the right time, this water. But Darjeeling tea is famously aromatic, even from the dry leaf. So we get an extra step to our tea appreciation process to smell the dry leaf. So what kind of smells are you getting there?
Also earthy,
Mhm.
delicate, and it might be my imagination, but I feel like it's slightly sweet, maybe?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, really? Okay,
Mhm.
good.
Lucy?
It smells good.
Sweet for sure.
Just what does it smell like? What are your tasting, your smell notes?
Sweet, kind of cocoa.
Yeah, cocoa for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
So for me, second flush. I don't know why I'm talking over here.
Oh,
Yeah, it has a cocoa smell. Very, very sweet smell. A little earthy.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, this smells like fresh chocolate chip cookies.
oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's so nice.
it's got like malty. I think the earthiness to me is like malt.
Like chocolate malt.
Right.
Actually, I can imagine this being like a
Yes.
cookie dough like mix. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Now that you say that.
but to me, it's like the crispy edge of home baked cookies.
Cool.
That's just me.
I can see it now because we used to make a chocolate malt cold foam
Go ahead and put it in.
and it has that smell.
So our next step, when we put it here into our teapot, I put some hot water into the teapot. And what that will do is begin to open up the aroma of the leaf.
Okay.
All right, so our camera storage ran out for our first infusion, but no problem, we didn't drink it anyways. Now we're on to our second infusion. We can do some more sniff notes. And as we said, we're getting the floral smells out of it right now.
Yeah,
Not
it's-
much, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like when it's after it's gotten wet, it starts to smell more like flowers. And
Oh yeah.
so,
For sure. So for our second infusion,
This is the one we get to drink.
yeah. And we'll start out with a rather short infusion. If it's too light, what we can do is we can lengthen the next one.
And how long did you say is like the right amount of time for?
There is no right amount of
Okay.
time. Jesse of Jesse's Tea House says, "Art, not a science." I think that's what he says. So whenever it feels right. I typically like long steeps, both Western and Gong Fu, but in the interest of not over steeping too early, let's go ahead and
Okay.
I like short steeps.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
because we both like a more delicate
Yeah.
flavor something. So okay.
And what you'll see is we have just enough tea in this
Oh, it's
teapot.
perfect.
For both little cups.
Yeah.
Exactly. In fact, I might have slightly overfilled it, but no problem.
Okay. It's a pretty color.
So this will be a little too hot to drink right away, but of course we can smell. Go ahead. You can take it.
Oh, thank you.
It'll be a little hot.
Now I feel like it smells, similar to before, but it's not as, it's more mild now with the second time the water went through. I don't know if it's just my imagination, but it smells really good. I like
There are no wrong answers.
it. Art, not a science.
Yeah, I agree. Art, not a science.
Yeah, good key. As we learned, hot tea is not going to have as much flavor. So once it is cool enough to touch,
Okay.
it'll be cool enough to drink and get some good flavor from it.
Gotcha. It's not too bad.
Not quite.
No, not quite.
That's a good rule of thumb, though.
So with all Darjeeling teas, given that it's typical first, second autumn flush, it's all processed technically as black tea.
Okay.
It's fully withered, different levels of oxidation, but fully withered, fully fired, meaning that for all of them, you will use 90 Celsius. 90 Celsius water,
Okay.
which is, what is it? I don't want to be wrong here. 190 degrees? No, 200.
That's a good question.
I only speak Fahrenheit.
It's 212 boiling in Fahrenheit.
I think so.
Right. So you want it to be just before boiling.
Okay.
In
Just
fact,
before boiling.
the Chinese have a way of telling just how hot your tea is. So when you start seeing shrimp eye sized bubbles in your pot, that's good for light teas, white tea, maybe some of the lighter green teas. Crab eye, just a little bit bigger, good for green tea.
So interesting.
Fish eye, I think that's just before rolling boil. That's good for really black tea, I think. Anything other than pu'er tea, the pressed fermented tea cakes, you want a full boil for those.
Whale eye.
Sure.
How familiar are you with marine
I
animal eye
saw
size?
this. I was wondering, like, how big is a fish
You've
eye?
never seen a shrimp
Yeah.
eye before
That
crab
sounds
eye.
really cute. Like this big.
I would think
Go
shrimp and crab are the same size.
Remember to slurp.
Okay. Slurp. I like that you can slurp in this culture. Sorry. Interesting, yeah. It's cool to compare like the smell of it versus the taste,
Yeah.
I'd say it's floral.
It's quite strong, I'm just going
More
to say.
astringent, yeah. It's a floral taste.
Yeah, very floral. It's almost like perfumey
Yes.
to me.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Like you're smelling a perfume like this.
Yeah, you can smell it as you drink it. It's kind of interesting.
To be honest, it might be a little too much leaf, but like I said, I could have over steeped it. So next time, our next steep, we could do for less time and see if we can get more flavor out of it. So that's the fun thing, is
Yeah.
you're chasing the flavor.
Yeah,
That's
I like
what it's
that.
about.
Depending on your taste, like what you enjoy, you can change it depending on how many times you steep it. So if you like it being a little bit more on the astringent side, that's a word I learned with you guys today, then do this, steep it like for that amount of time, and it's nice. It's not like a same flavor all the time,
So how have you enjoyed your time in India?
It's been awesome, yeah. So I think I've been here for 3.5 weeks total, maybe? Something like that, 3 weeks. The last couple weeks with you guys, and the first week with some other friends. And it's been really fun and interesting. At first, a lot of things were very overwhelming, which I kind of knew it would be, but it still surprised me when I landed in Delhi how crazy everything was. The traffic was, super nuts. There was just like so much to look at. It was a little bit overwhelming. and then we went to Ladakh for a few days, and that was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful, and just like such a different landscape. Very, dry and mountains. It was like a desert, like mountain range almost, and it was really, really cool to see that.
Have you been anywhere else that looks like that has that kind of high altitude?
Not exactly. The only thing I could compare it to was in like Morocco or Egypt, like in North Africa. Like, I guess just the little tiny bit I've seen, like those sort of dry mountains where it's like half desert, half alpine. Well, not Egypt wasn't that high, but it was sort of a familiar feeling that. But when you saw the snow-capped mountains in the background, that was like totally different. I didn't see that at all over there. So it was really beautiful. It was like some really cool parts of the world mixed together. But then when I came to Siliguri to stay with you guys, that was really cool because I felt like that was a mix of maybe parts of Egypt again, like the roads and like, the craziness, mixed with like some of the beautiful parts of Central America. Like the lush, green around it and lots of plants and trees and palm trees even. So I really have liked this area a lot because it was just nice to see a lot of green. And then coming to Darjeeling, of course, it's gorgeous out here. It's even greener. There's bluish mountains in the background, and then when the clouds clear, it's like those beautiful snow-capped peaks. So it's kind of the best of all the things in India, I feel like, here. And it's also a lot calmer here, of course, but even Siliguri, I started to not mind too much the noise so much.
Oh, no.
The power outages have been very interesting as well. They don't really interrupt anything. Like, people just go about, like, normal,
So
even restaurants. So.
We will continue our tea tasting like normal.
Let's see if we can get a flash.
Yeah, with...
All right.
So we can't tell anything
Yeah,
about the color
it's a
of
blind
the tea.
This is literally blind.
This is our blind tea tasting.
Yes. It'll be great. Okay. Okay, I'm excited for this one too. Third steep.
Same tea, third steep.
Yeah. Okay. I think it is, to me, it's milder than the previous tasting.
Good.
I feel like we kind of lost the perfumey flavor in the steep.
And well, let me taste it. It's still, it's lost some floralness. The perfuminess is still there, and what to me is like a bit of a unpleasant astringency, just a little bit too much.
I would agree.
But it still has like right on the front a lot of the florality. Florality, is that a word? You make up a lot of words in
No,
tea
I think
tasting.
that's tea tasting. That sounds right.
Sorry, I just finished your tea. There's a little bit left. Okay, so tea number 2.
Okay. So number 2.
Of our Gong Fu session. We have a new tea. First impressions of the appearance while we get the water ready.
It's much larger and more coarse, I think. Like, it just looks uncut.
Uncut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we're getting like
You can touch it.
some tips.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice as many. The other leaf looked darker. This one, there's tips. And yeah, like this is a whole long,
Which is pretty cool.
twisted leaf.
Yeah. It honestly looks more like oolong to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm getting the smell.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
I wonder if
This
I
one
can get a
smells-
close.
Yeah. The smell of this one is different.
How would you describe it, the difference? Last one we said was malty,
A
chocolatey.
little sweet, yeah.
How does this one strike you?
More savory, if that is a term.
Umami?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I
Like salty?
can describe it.
It's possible.
Do you think it smells a little sweet still, or not so much?
It smells cozy.
Cozy.
Let me see.
I'm not done.
Okay.
It
I've
smells
got
good.
water,
I'm trying
so-
to think of another word.
I'm gonna heat up this
I
pot.
can't think of.
It's interesting trying to describe something in words, you know, that's kind of new, for me at least.
It has a really comfy smell, but I don't know what word we would use on the tasting wheel.
Just use whatever words you got.
Cozy.
Okay.
Savory,
Cool.
I guess.
Great.
It smells like a good tea to drink on a misty day
Yeah.
like today.
What do you think?
You know what? It smells. It's not like as chocolatey. It has the maltiness a little bit. More like this, the skin of a fruit.
Skin of a fruit.
Interesting.
But let me get it in the
Okay.
pot.
Okay. The smell really
Yeah.
come out.
So we can get the smell to come out more.
Do you think more like grapey?
Grapey?
Muscatel?
Oh yeah.
Look,
That's good.
we already know that muscatel doesn't mean anything. Muscatel means whatever you think it means.
I think it means grapes.
So it's right. So
Is that what
they're muscat.
Muscadine
Oh
wine.
really?
No,
Oh,
no.
Moscato, is that the same or totally different? Is that? It is like kind of a strange thing when it's like a new smell or taste or something, and you feel like there's not like you don't know the words in your own language to describe it. Like you just need to come up with new words for it.
Mhm.
It's kind of cool.
Okay, so
Okay. You know, it's so mild right now that I'm not picking up even
Really?
too much smell.
okay,
at the moment.
then let's give you the pot.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, sorry. It's starting to smell like dinner. Like food.
Dinner?
Yeah.
Are you
I mean,
hungry?
Like, I mean, yeah, I heard my stomach rumble just now, but it smells good. I think I'd maybe keep the same word, savory, for me.
A little more spice, I think.
Spicy. See,
And a little more smoky, I think.
okay.
So maybe like stronger.
Campfire. Not campfire. Well, it's a cozy, it smells like a nice fall day, but
Nice.
this isn't autumn flush, this is second flush.
Actually,
It smells totally different.
there is a
from the
sweetness
other one.
though.
You think so? Yeah.
To
maybe
me,
I'm just
it's
not
coming out a
picking
lot.
It up. Yeah. I think you have a good nose for these things.
It's like a smoky orange.
Oh yeah.
I don't.
I'm getting some kind of citrus or the skin of a fruit.
Okay.
I haven't tasted too many fruits. I feel like if I had, I would be able to identify it better. But
That's how you become a better tea taster, is by tasting more. The more food you eat, the more flavors and smells, and then you can use those words when it comes to tea.
maybe this is true muscatel.
It must be.
Interesting.
We found it.
I like that even though you guys are trained with teas and you went to the
Raisins.
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 Smell it
Really?
just like a quick smell.
Oh, I could.
Raisins. That's
yeah,
what it is.
Yeah.
That's a good-
That's it.
Dried fruit.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Dried apricot.
it's raisins straight up.
That's muscatel.
Interesting. Yeah. Actual grapes. Yeah.
All right.
Like dried up grapes, maybe. I mean, they're not grapes, but
Do
it
the
smells
rinse.
like raisins. Yeah.
That's what you look for in second flush. Or even when people think of Darjeeling tea, they think of muscatel. So sometimes when people try first flush, they're like, is this Darjeeling? Because first flush doesn't have that. Those strong flavors. It's a lot later.
Interesting.
For this one, I'm just gonna do a quick rinse,
Okay.
and then we can taste all the.
Okay.
Oops.
We can get to drinking.
Yeah, I think it's cool though that even though you guys have some went to the school and got training for tea tasting, like you still get excited and or discovering like it's still kind of a puzzle. Like, oh, what is in here? What
Oh,
does
for
that
sure.
smell like?
We are only at the beginning of our journey. Wow.
Yeah.
Just look at the appearance.
They look like raisins now.
Here.
Well, so like they're starting to open up already, very quickly. So
Yeah.
this is just a rinse, so they're not opened up very much, but we'll be able to see as we go through the session. They'll open up. open up entirely.
Nice.
And so too the flavors. First infusion.
You did the rinse. This is the first infusion.
Correct.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. And even the first infusion also gets poured out, or in some
You can.
cases, or
It's just not as good as the second. The second one is supposed to be like the best.
Gotcha.
What do they say? You give your
Throw your throw it to your enemies. Something? Do they like in the gong
Something
fu? Do
like-
they like toss it?
I should be paying attention. The first infusion goes to your enemies. The second one goes you drink for yourself, and the third one
Wait.
you give to your wife.
Aw, that's sweet. Because the third one's the best.
Do you like your wife?
Depends, yeah.
Asking for myself.
That's really cool. I feel like the color of this one is darker.
Compared to the last one?
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah.
I
Or do you
I'm
think it's
trying
the
to
same?
remember. I think you might be right. Yeah, I think
Maybe
might
slightly
be
darker.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
We lost power for a lot of the last one, so I didn't get as much of the
It was all blurry.
color.
Yeah. What do you think? Is it too hot?
I just need to just.
Oh.
What are your notes?
The more I slurp, the better. It like the easier it gets to
Discern.
Yeah, to discern. Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do is they'll slurp it, and then while it's in the mouth, they'll kind of aerate it like this. And again, this is the first steep, so it'll be more bitter than it will be.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
I feel like very light astringency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think, Al?
I like it. I feel like it. I don't know if it, is just like a difference in the way it was steeped or not, but I feel like this is less astringent than the first one.
Than the first tea?
Yeah, than the first tea.
For sure.
And I feel like it is, for me, as an amateur, like it's easier to enjoy it the first time you drink it, which is nice.
Mm.
So I guess I would use like mild. I like that it's more mild.
More mild.
Yeah.
What flavors are you getting, Lucy?
Mild,
Astringency.
light, very light astringency. Hardly
Mhm.
any, I would say.
Mm.
A little bit of that muscatel. It feels nice. Drinking it feels nice.
Yeah, that's another thing is just the mouth,
Yeah.
the way it feels in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It can feel oily, it can feel
This one
less
feels
so.
less dry. The last one felt more dry. This one
Mhm.
feels more.
But it is still dry. It does have a drier feel.
I think it's less. Do you think?
Yeah, not drier than the
Mhm.
first tea. The first tea was quite dry.
Yeah.
But I did like the first tea as well. This one is just more, to me, like easier to enjoy. This first batch,
Mhm.
So I like that it's more delicate.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm feeling, this was a pretty quick first steep. So on the second one, I want to pull more out of it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay.
You can feel free to finish that one.
And you can continue telling us. You were talking about your travels, what you've liked.
So besides the natural beauty of the different places, there's some things that are harder to enjoy at first. Of course, like the noise, and there's so many people going every which way in every form of transportation in town. So that could be a negative, it being crowded, and of course those obvious things, but at the same time something nice about it is that there's always something to look at. It's like there's never a boring moment the second you leave your apartment. There's always something happening, which is really cool, whether it's like, you know, people walking by and they're, you know, and women in like super beautiful clothing, or, you know, men selling things, or also the guys like putting up those bamboo, like, you know, temporary like structures for their festivals, and just watching them climb up, you know, with like no safety equipment. It's pretty wild watching that. There's like just lots of colorful things, like people selling fruits and vegetables, and there's like cows in the middle of the road, and people just zooming around, and like once you get over the shock of it, for me as someone coming from the States, then you can sort of have a sense of humor about, you know, all the things you see that would probably never fly back home, but somehow people make it work over there, and people in general seem less stressed. I don't know if stressed is the word. They just aren't so like overly particular about things, which is nice. They're more easygoing in the sense that they don't mind if the car like goes this, you know, 2 inches away from them. They just, you know.
I think
Maybe they mind, but they won't complain.
Yeah, they just go about their day, you know.
one thing I think that's different here is there's not really, I mean, I don't really see much road rage.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
in the States, you cut someone off and they're like,
They're
they
pretty
want you
upset.
dead.
Yeah.
But here, like, even just the other day, we were riding in the Toto, and then, like, a motorcycle, like, swerved into us.
Really?
And then the driver,
Hit you.
like, almost. So we swerved, he swerved.
Was I with you in that?
Yeah.
drive?
And the drivers look at each other, and they just kind of, like, smile.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
sheepishly. They're just like,
Like my bad.
oops. And then, you
Bad
know,
bro. Yeah.
and then they just keep moving.
It's really funny. One of my favorite memories, weirdly, from this whole time in Silbury, besides all the friends we made and the, you know, really obviously wonderful things about it. We had one night we were going home, and we had this very funny, charismatic taxi driver who I just loved. Like, he was just happy. Like, he was just so happy. You know, we got in this taxi, he was blasting music. I think you remember that ride. And he was just having a great time. And so we got home, and I was thinking, like, oh, man, I love that guy. Like, it would be cool if we could hire him for, like, all of our future taxis. And then somehow, I don't know what the odds are of this happening, but the next night, I was going back to your house again, and the same guy, we got in the same guy's car, and he was like, and I was like, oh. And he somehow remembered. I mean, I guess there's not that many foreigners, so maybe, you know, it was easy to remember who I was, but he was just so fun. This time I got to ride in the front seat with him and another friend, and he was just like having no time of his life driving his taxi, you know, just swerving around people, listening to like Bollywood tunes, and he was like, you know, bobbing his head and saying like, if everyone in the States could have that attitude, like, imagine how fun it would be to be in traffic, you know. So I just really enjoyed that part of it. Sometimes it was rough to, you know, be in all the noise, but other times it was actually pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, felt like being in a movie or something.
Yeah.
It's fun. For sure.
Yeah, I think the earplugs are a good idea though. But
Earplugs.
Earplugs.
Yeah,
Not
it's
quite
hard to
necessary.
describe like the amount of noise until you get there.
Yeah.
And it's like friendly honking most of the time, just like not always friendly.
It depends.
A lot of it's just like, I'm here, or
like,
I think the other
heads
thing,
I feel that most of it is get out of my way.
I think because, like you said, there's every kind of vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So you have cars on the road, and you also have bicycle rickshaws, and you have people riding bicycles, you have motorcycles, and so everyone's going different
giant
speeds.
buses,
Yeah, so you have a fast vehicle coming up on a slow vehicle, and it's like, you gotta move over, and that's just happening constantly.
However, in Silbury at least, the roads are so narrow. What are you going to do? That's how I feel a lot of the
Where
time.
do you go?
Right. So what is this rickshaw or bicycle rickshaw going to do with a car behind them when the nearest area to the left is a gutter?
Yeah.
So to me, in my mind, it sounds more like you're in my way. Please
Disappear.
move. Yeah, disappear. Evaporate.
Evaporate.
Right. And that's how I feel that a lot of people who drive a lot in Silbury feel. They're like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Why are you honking at me?
Where am I going to go?
I feel that when I'm walking. Like, sometimes I'm walking and it's someone's honking. I'm like, I can't. Let me just climb up. I'll just hang here until you can pass under.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a challenge when you're walking. It's feels like a game almost, trying to avoid getting hit.
But to be fair, have you ever ridden a bicycle or walked on a road that didn't have a sidewalk in the U.S.?
Gosh, almost never.
Yeah.
Never.
It's-
almost
I feel that it is worse.
never.
Trying to ride a bike and walking on a road without
they're
proper
going so much
pedestrian.
faster.
Yeah,
Mm.
and they also feel 100% that you should not be there, which I suppose you shouldn't be, but also there should be pedestrian infrastructure. There should be a place to walk.
This is really good.
Is it? Is it a
Yeah.
lot different from the first?
I think it's
Nearly even less astringency.
Yeah.
Don't influence.
sorry.
it too much.
Even before Lucy said, I had the same thought that it is even milder and lighter and more delicate, which is something I personally enjoy. So this is my favorite tasting of the ones we've had so far.
Nice.
Sweet. I think it's sweet. Yeah.
And
I
yeah,
agree.
Yeah,
This
my
is the
favorite.
best one. In my
Nice.
my opinion.
I still don't know which is which, so hopefully, like I'm describing this well.
Hopefully you're ready for the big reveal.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Ethan forgot. Too hot. Yes, I think we're in the right business, or I'm in the right business.
slurp
What do you think? Is it?
doesn't count if you don't slurp.
Ooh, I like this a lot.
Really?
Yeah,
It's different?
I tasted no bitterness like this
Yeah.
first slurp at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely coming down in flavor. It still has a really nice golden brown flavor. Oh, sorry, flavor color.
Yeah.
It's
The
a bit hot.
colors.
Don't drink it all now.
The color's hardly changed.
Yeah.
It's surprising, but I do like this tea a lot. I find it easy to.
Which one did you like the best?
So both were good. I definitely wouldn't say I disliked the first one. That was really nice. I just
No humming and hawing this time.
no humming and hawing. Number 2 is my favorite because I think it was less bitter, which for me is good. I found it very easy to drink right off the bat, and it's light, which is something I personally like. So I would say number 2.
Okay.
Same for me.
Did you have a preference, Ethan? Or
The session is not yet over.
okay,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah, I liked this one. I liked the dry leaf. The smell was just very warm and comfy, and the flavor's been really nice. The first had very low astringency, and it's gone down even from there. It feels nice drinking. I like it a lot.
Besides that too, I don't think this probably has as much to do with the taste, but I just liked that the leaves looked more naturally. Like I thought that was cool. It didn't look as like manufactured. Not that the first one was bad. It's just that I like how they and then you watch them open up, and it feels like you can see your tea
Yeah,
coming to life.
absolutely.
So
I think it should be good to drink.
okay.
Is this a 4th infusion?
If you're counting the rinse, yes.
This is
you
the
don't
3rd one
typically-
that goes to your wife.
Yes, this
so
is
then
the
I get the
wise.
whole one.
Perfect.
I get the entire
I'm
cup.
done.
Okay.
So we're searching for flavors. What are we getting?
Let me try that again.
Do you feel that
Muscat.
well, I mean, yeah,
Sorry.
that's what we want to hear, but
I feel like for a second I did taste like almost a citrusy bit,
Yeah.
like you were mentioning earlier.
right.
This one feels a little more citrusy. Actually, this infusion feels more citrusy than the ones before it.
It's got like an aspect of the dried fruit, much less of the sweetness, but there's another flavor there. I'm not experienced enough of a taster
It's hard to describe.
of food period to tell you what it is. But it's definitely unique, especially for second flush. And I feel like it's what second flush is supposed to be. A happy medium between first and autumn, where you're right in the middle of the road with the oxidation between 45 and 55% oxidation. So again, very similar to what an oolong is supposed to be, or is. So
I think that's something I liked about this one, because I really like oolong teas. So this
nice.
feels more like that.
I wouldn't. I don't think it does, but I wouldn't have been surprised if someone said that there was like a hint of like grapefruit in it or something.
fair enough, yeah.
So I like, which I like that.
Yes, actually, yeah. It's like it might be the dryness, or what a lot of people say is minerality. They use the word minerality, which some people say freshness. Some people even have called it like bubbliness. Of course, it's not carbonated, but that's what you get in a lot of these Darjeeling teas, especially the first flush, is what they call bubbliness or freshness. To me, it's like minerality. It's like when you drink a really, really minerally water. I don't know about this water. Water is a massive factor, so that could very much affect
What brand is it?
the taste. This is Aqua Purifa. Packaged drinking water. So it says reverse osmosis, ultraviolet sterilization. It doesn't say it has added minerals, but that might be a bad thing. Some teas taste good with a little bit of minerals in it to bring out more of the flavor, but you definitely don't want too many minerals. That's the primary problem that we have here in India, is the water's so hard, even if you put it through a very strong filter.
When we were using the high mineral waters, we would go to the tasting room and try the teas, and they tasted really nice. And then we would take them home and use the high mineral water, and it was like totally stripped of flavor.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we had to we would start buying water specifically for tea.
Making tea.
That's something kind of.
You want to get a shot of the? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no! Just something interesting. Almost, it would be intimidating, except for that this experience has been very like laid back and peaceful. But as someone who like in the past generally just drinks things that like just taste the same no matter what you do, unless maybe lemonade, of course, like it can change. But for most things like juices and whatnot, it's usually the same no matter like where you get it from or where you drink it. But with tea, it's like so many factors that make it like so varied, which is also really cool though. But like that the water can affect the leaf, and then like the temperature and the humidity, and then like the way the leaf is harvested and when it's harvested, all those things. But it's very cool because there's like an infinite amount of like experiences you can have with just the same bush, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that's what that's kind of the point of every season it's different, quite different. You can see. You get it.
That's cool. I don't think you can get like bored of a particular tea because it can be different every time you get it. That's really cool.
So then, on the tea drinking, tea culture proselytization topic, as a previous non-tea drinker, where are you at?
Okay, so I have so much to learn, obviously, but I think I appreciate way more now how much work goes into getting tea, like harvesting it, planning when it's going to be harvested, and then drinking it. So before, I didn't think tea drinkers were snobs or anything, but I just thought like, oh, I don't know, like when they talk about like different flavors, I just thought, well, I can't really taste it. It just seems like it's all about the same, like how much different could it be, like, if you steep it like one more minute, then... But now, because I've tasted like different steeping times, it is vastly different, like what you taste, depending on like even those little things. So I think now I'll appreciate more like that. Just the little things you do can change it greatly, and so that makes it more exciting to drink. and also I think I'll appreciate more now when a tea is not bitter. That like probably took a lot of very specific things to make that happen, and it makes it even more special that it's not bitter.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What was I going to say? I was actually listening, so I don't have something to say.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you for
I was
listening.
thinking now when you go home, because you were one of our, I think you were our second customer when
really?
we put out our first flush special reserve. But you have not yet tried it.
Now
out
I'll
of
appreciate it more.
intimidation.
Yes.
For
I was
the,
waiting for the right time.
so now when you go home and you try the first flush,
Yes.
it's
I'll
you'll
make
know
it.
how to make it.
Yeah.
And know what you're tasting and
I
what
think
you're
I'll
looking
appreciate
for.
it more. Yeah.
And in comparison to second flush, because first and second are pretty different.
Yeah. Although I'm still not sure which tea is which, so I'm like pretty eagerly
Okay.
waiting
Are you ready
to
to
reveal.
see whether or not this whole video is usable
Yes.
or not?
This is Fancy's calling me.
Our tea was the first one.
Really?
No.
Oh my god.
Hey now, hey now.
I was
Go on
shocked.
camera,
I
no.
was like, no, this is our tea. I know which tea is ours.
Oh my gosh, because honestly, it could have been the first one.
I think
genuinely
I said
didn't know,
on
and you
camera
didn't.
that I didn't like the
Yeah.
first one.
I genuinely could have been the first one because you did not give any hints. So I was like, "Oh, please let it be the second one."
Lucy
'cause I
kind
like
of
that one.
hinted at it. She was like, what she was saying was implying experience with the second one. Like, oh yeah, this is
No,
why
I
like
knew
this
the
one.
second one. I knew immediately was our tea,
Yeah.
but you did give me
You
just
know-
now. I was like, oh no, I said on camera
You know,
I didn't like that tea.
I didn't really pick up on that part of it. It's just that I know that you, like, are always very honest about it. So I thought, well, if it was the first tea, maybe it just wasn't prepared the same way, and maybe Lucy was just being honest that she didn't like that. But I'm glad it was the second tea, and we both immediately agreed we liked the second tea the best. So that is really you. I
covered
died
through
for
a lot.
like
You're not allowed,
2
you, there's camera rolling and audio. You are not allowed to hurt me.
Okay. I would never hurt you.
You grabbed me. She was like this. Well, that was a insightful session. I enjoyed it very much. Both teas are very, very good. I'm glad we picked up the one, especially for comparison. And to be honest, with a lot of experience tasting our second flush Namring 2024, this was not all that it had to offer, and I don't know if it was a storage problem with our sample, or if it's a water quality problem. But it holds up, and I think that's, as I said before, the tea should be good if you oversteep it, if you understeep it, if you know what you're tasting, if you don't, if the water is good, if the water is not so good. I think that's the whole point of the company, Hilltown, is to search for the very best with as few compromises as possible, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what we're after, and I think we're one step closer. So, and we also have a tea convert, which I
no
feel
more
like,
juice.
No more
recordings.
ever.
At least while we're in Darjeeling.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. While we're like in like the mecca of tea, I definitely have to keep trying more teas, improving my palate. But I really
A
enjoyed
pot
this
of
one.
tea with every meal.
We'll be tasting a lot more this weekend, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And we will bring the best of it back to you guys. Well, that wraps it up. Thank you all for watching very much. Thank you for putting up with the unique circumstances, tea-ware, lighting, and
Power outages.
power outages.
Only like 3 power outages, I think.
But I feel like we had a good conversation together, and we had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. So until next time, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.